we interrupt the internet with breaking news.
This just in, New Zealand has confirmed that snails are now doing body horror because apparently evolution has stopped using editors. A rescue drone in Estonia found a bear instead of a missing man, which is the most 2026 sentence possible. Tragedy interrupted by content. Britain is putting animals on money because when the economy gets shaky, obviously you let a puffin handle branding. Good evening, unless you're watching this in the morning, in which case, good evening from the future, where the headlines are somehow dumber and the coffee still doesn't help. Welcome to the show. I'm Bob, and I'm here to fight the news, which is a terrible matchup because I'm one host with a microphone, and the news is an endless parade of nightmare wildlife, accidental documentaries, and a collapsing civilization trying to fix morale with otters. We begin in New Zealand, where nature once again looked at basic biology and said, no, that's for cowards. A rare carnivorous New Zealand snail was filmed laying an egg from its neck for the first time. From its neck. From its neck. Not near the neck. Not under the shell. Not in a way that lets the public sleep. Its neck. That is not reproduction. That is a design flaw. That sounds less like wildlife news and more like the sentence a cursed lighthouse keeper screams before the villagers board up the windows. And apparently, this is the first time it was captured on video, which means this has been happening off camera for who knows how long. And the scientists were still somehow surprised. Imagine devoting your career to mollusks and still having to call everyone into the room with, "You're going to want to see this. The neck has opened." Also, it's a carnivorous snail. Of course it is. Because when nature creates a creature with a side-loading egg system, it immediately says, let's also make it mean. So now it's a meat-eating snail laying neck eggs like a haunted condiment bottle. And this is why people don't trust science headlines anymore. You can't open your phone and read carnivorous snail lays eggs from neck and then expect anyone to calmly move on to the weather. Somewhere, there's a regular snail trying to do PR for the whole species. No. Most of us just ruin gardens. Gary is special. Too late, Gary. You blew it. The entire snail community is now one grainy phone video away from being classified as folklore. The news takes round one after debuting a snail with a hidden output port and the energy of an FDA warning label. Bob gets a point for not visibly dry heaving. Next, Estonia, where a rescue mission accidentally turned into premium wildlife content because even emergencies now have to chase engagement. An Estonian nonprofit using a drone to search for a missing man near Tartu instead spotted a bear awake after hibernation playing in the snow. That is an unbelievable pivot. You send a drone out for a missing person and the force responds like a terrible customer service rep. We're unable to provide man at this time. Would you accept one frolicking bear? The drone operator had to be staring at the screen going, "Target located, large, furry, moving confidently, definitely not answering to sir." And the bear was playing in the snow. That's the kind of joy only available to creatures with no deadlines, no landlord, and no concept of a performance review. Honestly, the bear looked better adjusted than most adults. Fresh air, exercise, no notifications, no meetings that should have been emails, no emails that should have been a fire. Just one giant wooden freeloading machine living its best life on camera. Meanwhile, the missing man eventually hears, "So, bad news. We didn't find you right away. Good news, the footage is gorgeous and the bear tested through the roof." The drone did not fail. It simply obeyed the oldest law of media. If there's a bear, the bear is now the story. And let's be honest, the bear knew. The bear absolutely knew. That was not playing. That was a soft launch. Bob ties it up with sarcasm, despair, and a devastating right cross to the attention economy. The wilderness remains charismatic, unemployed, and impossible to fact check. Britain looked at its currency and decided the problem was not enough duck. The Bank of England plans wildlife-themed banknotes after nature won 60% of roughly 44,000 consultation responses, while King Charles remains on the notes. I love this so much because the British public apparently looked at inflation, stagnant wages, economic anxiety, institutional distrust, and the general sensation of national struggling and said, yes, but what if the money had an out on it? That is elite coping. That is a nation emotionally furnishing the waiting room. And no household pets made the cut, which is honestly rude. A golden retriever was one focus group away from becoming the face of overdraft fees. King Charles still stays on the note, of course, which means the new bills are basically, here's your monarch, and here's an author the public would clearly rather hear from. Nature beat architecture and historical figures. That means Britain looked at Shakespeare, Churchill, famous buildings, and centuries of official national mythology and said, counterpoint, badger. Correct. The badger has done less damage. And the second these notes enter circulation, every cashier in the country is going to hold one up and say, this puffin has seen your purchases and is disappointed. Wildlife on money actually makes perfect sense. The economy already runs on hoarding, territorial aggression, migration patterns, panic, and random screaming. It's just animal behavior with worse tailoring. And honestly, if I'm paying 18 pounds for lunch and a tiny bottle of water, I deserve to be judged by a fox. Bob takes the lead with a savage combination of inflation dread, monarchy fatigue, and one woodland creature the public trusts more than elected officials. 3 quick stories now from the Aw That's Nice department, which is really just chaos wearing a tiny hat. A French woman has treated more than 1,000 hedgehogs in 8 years, meaning somewhere near Paris there's a secret trauma ward for panicked pincushions. In Florida, rescuers netted a mother manatee and her calf from a river, proving once again that every Florida wildlife update sounds like nature called 911 and then wandered off shirtless. And a baby Sumatran tiger passed its first exam at the Berlin Zoo, making it the first being in recorded history to succeed academically by having stripes and a face that could reset a grown adult's blood pressure. We are tied. Bob battled through neck eggs, snow bears, French hedgehog, triage, Florida manatee drama, and a tiger cub so adorable it could legally count as propaganda. What we learned tonight? We learned that New Zealand's snails are moving slowly but still arriving at body horror ahead of schedule. We learned that if you send a drone into an Estonian forest, the forest may send back a bear with a pitch deck. We learned Britain is one public consultation away from handling monetary policy to a hedgehog with excellent instincts. And we learned the animal kingdom is currently more photogenic, more competent, and in at least one case, less disturbing than humanity. And that's the bell. Bob fought bravely, but the news closed strong with anatomical crimes, accidental bear prestige TV, and British currency redesigned by a country that has quietly decided birds may be the adults in the room. Until next time, good night, stay weird, and never trust any sentence containing the words egg and neck unless it also contained safely behind glass.